Hello, is this thing on? Alright, so R.I.P. Chadwick, okay? Ooh, you think Rhaenyra in Game of Thrones wanted the No, she doesn't really want it. Shuri was fighting niggas. She was literally sabotaging T'Challa to get the title of the Black Panther. So I like that there was like a huge difference of that here. Where it's like it seems that she's only donning the mantle because she has to, because there is impending doom afoot. And I respect that. And I feel like this is the best way to move forward. Since you didn't set it up, since you didn't decide to set it up, this is the best way you could lazily do it. And yes, I'm going to use strong language, okay? Like lazy. I don't care about the semantics. Because I'm going to explain to you guys why. This is just me being dead ass. This is my opinion, right? We don't get a lot of movies to ourselves. So sometimes when we do get them, we have to be somewhat critical. Of course, I definitely understand the side that's like, well, if we barely get them, why should we criticize? Just take it. And I flip-flop on that sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, well, we barely get it, so let's take it. And sometimes I'm like, well, when we get it, it should be good. You know? So, you know, when I saw the discourse, people were excited. And all I thought to myself is, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could just not see what they're doing and just be happy that we're on the screen, you know? Because as much as I enjoy sometimes overanalyzing TV and watching a lot of TV, sometimes being a little critical about it does take a little bit of the fun out of it sometimes. Especially with stuff like this. But with black stuff, I'm very critical. Because like now that we're on the screen more, it's like they're just slapdashing us everywhere. And the gems are rare. Like the good is rare. Or I may not say rare, it's not as often as you would like. So here's what I would want them to do. Even if you decide that you don't want to push the mantle onto some other poor black actor to try and beat T'Challa, even though that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, and I'll explain why later. Fine. You cast somebody who kind of looks like him and then CGI him in and then have him die, right? And in that movie where he dies, you set up for Shuri. You don't just slapdash Shuri in with a funeral out of nowhere. You don't. Why? Because she's a black woman, and I'm sick and tired of you just using black women all the time. If this movie isn't good, the black women who are a part of it are going to be attacked. The women who are a part of this are going to be attacked, and nobody sees it. This story is a legacy, and so it needs to be done carefully. You know, not just done. It needs to be done carefully. Okay? It looks like they're going to be coming up against a new villain with a big threat, and that's okay. I am still gonna watch the movie. I don't hate anything about it. I'm just worried that the writing's not gonna be good because it was rushed. It was rushed. And you guys have seen other Marvel stuff get rushed or get rewritten to hell. Why do you think that the stuff headed by the black people is going to be any different? Like, bro, there's no magical Negro dust. Things aren't just automatically better because we're in them. We still have to do the work. And a lot of work has been put into this movie, and I would hate for it to be in vain. Okay, you know, I've heard people say that the Black Panther movie is overrated, white and black. I would hate for them to have discourse on this one too. And I don't agree with them because I like the first Black Panther movie. But they have reasons for saying what they said. I don't want anybody to have reason to say anything about this. I like this Shuri. I think she's actually more personable than the comic book one. So I think that we need to really think about what we're doing here. You know? And I said I wanted to bring it up a little later, so later is now. The idea that nobody could fit into T'Challa's shoes is so asinine. So what? We should just never have another Black Panther because Chadwick was so good. That's how you let your legacy die. When you think that somebody was so good that they cannot be replaced, that's how you let the legacy die. This movie wasn't just a regular romantic comedy or an action spy movie. It was a superhero movie. That denotes history. That denotes legacy. That denotes children who are artsy or nerdy growing up saying, I want to see me. I want to see me. I feel like you guys don't think about that sometimes. You just think, oh, I see myself on screen. That's great. You don't think about, am I being written well? And who cares what the white people think or what people who are not black? And it vibes with propaganda that they like to push today. What? Think, Mark. Like, come on, guys. Broaden the horizons, the scope of your minds. Broadnet, please. Because I thought that was even more ridiculous than everything else I heard. Almost. I was like, people really thought that it was going to be a nigga? What? How? At least there was kind of setup for Shuri being the Black Panther. The setup being that that's his sister, because there's no other setup. But you know. And while I'm on that, yes, I want to see her fighting montage. Because the writers in the first movie were good enough to show that she wasn't really that good at fighting. She wasn't. So in order for her to be a Black Panther that's going to defeat Namor, I would like to see a little training montage. I think training montages are cool. You could see people progress and become badasses. Personally, I would love to see either Nakia or Okoye help her train. You know? I'd love to see it. Oh, but we didn't get to see Chadwick train. The movie literally starts with him battling the Gorilla King for dominance and ends in a giant battle scene. So even though we didn't get an official training scene, we got to see him do some traditional wrestling. Like, we got to see him literally, his battle with Gorilla King was training for his battle with Killmonger. Yeah, shut up. Anyways. So since we're gonna get into it, if you're unaware, in the mythos of the Black Panther, the title of Black Panther, the suit and everything, it is a hereditary title that you earn, right? So you have to be of certain blood and you have to earn it, right? Which is why I think they mentioned it in the movie that not anybody could just take the flower and become the Black Panther. That was a nod. There's actually a Black Panther animated series way back in the day, and I remember some lore that back in another comic where I think Killmonger was not related to them, or he was, I'd have to check, he drank the flower to get the powers and he turned mad because only somebody who is of the T'Challa family line could become Black Panther in that way without going crazy from the magic of the plant. So it's a whole thing, all right? And so, like, you have to train from you are born, you have to train, and then you have to fight in a tournament with other Wakandans who feel like they're worthy of the title, and you have to win. So training should already be a thing. Just traditionally. Aren't Black people all about traditions and culture and Wakanda is a real place? And then why don't you want me to see it? Why am I hearing discourse about people not wanting to see her do a training montage because a man didn't do it? I don't care what a nigga does. If she does it, she'll be cooler than him. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? I'm just asking, I swear. So, also to give some more backstory. In the comics, I think it's the 4th volume of Black Panther. Volume 2 is where Shuri is introduced. You first see her when her mom's trying to get her locked up in her room, says she has to go to the tournament. The Black Panther tournament, right? But she sneaks out because she's agile, you know, she's been training really hard. She gets close to the ring, and then the current Black Panther knocks this big nigga out of the ring, and he lands on her. As she's struggling to get this guy off of her, a masked man comes and knocks the fuck out of the current Black Panther. Then he takes off his mask. It's T'Challa. So that is how we are introduced to them, and we get to see a little bit of their sibling dynamic. Now, they did not do this in the movie, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. A bad thing because it would have been interesting to see, but a good thing because, you know, we don't always gotta see siblings in turmoil. And mind you, for the most part, T'Challa didn't exactly want to be king. He just wanted to be a hero. Whereas in the comics, Shuri more wanted to be queen and wanted to be a ruler, but like she had that right. So she had that vibrato. She had that, you know, that oomph about it, you know? So, even in the comics, after he becomes king, he trains Shuri to fight. So she gets lessons from him directly. Even though on the inside she feels like it should be her ruling, she still has the foresight to calm down and let him do what he needs to do, right? So there is levels to her, right? That we haven't gotten to see yet. Hopefully this movie will allow us to see it. To show how much they need to show. So the way that you become it, right? After you win the tournament, that's not even where it ends. You have to go on a journey. A hero's journey, video coming soon about Avatar. You have to go on a hero's journey to find the heart plant. You know, the one that they just have growing there. And whatever. Okay, whatever. Maybe that's what happens. She has to go find the plant. Hopefully that happens, right? So you have to go find the plant. So in a story where T'Challa was wounded and he's dying, she has to pick up the mantle of the Black Panther. So she has to go and find the heart-shaped plant, right? She goes up on this journey, climbs a mountain and finds it. And then she meets up with Boss, the Black Panther spirit on the spiritual plane. So it wasn't just, oh, the great kings are up there. No, like she met the actual Panther god that gives you the powers. How cool would that have been to see? And I hope they show it. You know, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that some of the things I'm saying, they're gonna show. You know, and that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm just saying that there is so much story here. Like even the little bit I'm saying, you can see videos of hours more. You can read hours more. The little animated show showed a little bit of what was happening in the very, very beginning before he became king. Like, there's just so much story there, so much intrigue, so much depth of character, and I personally feel like we are losing that because now, not Ryan Coogler, right, because I don't think he meant to, but the white people in suits that be can be like, he died. So now we can just give them one movie and half an hour of cameos everywhere else and we're done. We put a little animated show or something. This story is so interesting and it's so good. So interesting and so good. There is a character called Madam Slay who hangs around with jaguars and she is a Black Panther villain. Why have I not heard of her? Why aren't they making anything about her? There is so much in that story that I want to see. And of course, the separate thing, as you know, later on, as after he's king, he marries Aurora from X-Men. I haven't talked about X-Men yet, but I am a X-Men stan. Everything X-Men except that New Mutants movie, trash. I like everything X-Men. Every movie, every TV show, except that movie, New Mutants. He literally marries Aurora. Like, all of the stuff that we were robbed out of, all in the name of quote-unquote respect. When I showed you before in the other video, I showed the evidence that if you really want to respect him, you should have respected his wishes. I hope that even if these movies die, somebody makes a TV show or the animated series goes in the length of Justice League and we get to see everything slowly. I hope. Let's try to be positive then. But yeah, gave you a little bit of a history lesson, let you know what's going on. If you want to know some more about Shuri's backstory, Go to the channel Key Issues. They just upload a video, Shuri's Black Panther comic history explained. I already knew some of this, but after looking at it again, I'm like, wow, you know, so interesting. You really are going to get that much depth in this movie, guys. Come on. What I'm giving this movie is that the action better be good. The action better be popping. And that's about it for me. I'll watch it for the action. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to me, for trying to understand me. If you disagree, put it in the comments, not the comics. But yeah, I just wanted to be honest. I didn't even really want to make this video, but sometimes I have to say my opinion. You know, that's what my channel is for. If you don't like it and you have a different opinion, you can put the comments down below. Or you can make your own channel. Like, you can literally do whatever you like. Like I said, it's not going to stop me from watching the movie. I'm still going to watch it for the culture. But I just wish that our culture got some better writing and had a better reputation so that I wouldn't sit here thinking that it's going to be bad. At the very least, right? Make it be at least 50-50 and not 70-30. You know, where it's like 30% of the time is good, the other 70 is meh. You know? That's what I hate. I hate that I have such good reason to doubt the community. That's all. Anyways, see you in November when this movie comes out, because that'll be my next video. I will be talking about it, okay? I'll say if I'm wrong or if I'm right, if I was partially right, partially wrong, okay? And if I was completely wrong, I will apologize. Because nobody's above reproach, okay? Anyways, goodbyes. R.I.P. the real one.